Dire ce qu'il veut, mais je crois que ce que je prouve sur le terrain, c'est une marionnette.
Donc voilà, donc le président de la côte à la salle. Donc le président de la République. Le côte à la salle, donc président Yohana Zokota, président Martin Fayulu, président de la République démocratique du Congo. Président Yohana Zokota, donc. Président de la République, de la conférence. Donc, le président de la République démocratique du Congo. On a Harvard University, donc tout le monde a l'état de Noaté, c'est un nouveau son d'état, on a Harvard University, président de la République démocratique du Congo, il est là. Martin Fayulu m'a dit l'homme élu, plus de 60% des voix, beaucoup de cardinal, en mort, en tout cas, tout ce qu'il a, quand on mort, le bois, on met à mon côté. beaucoup l'église catholique. Beaucoup l'église catholique. Elle a un journaliste qui dit
Very nice. Can you just sit the three of us?
yes.
I joined.
Beaucoup l'église
Let me
catholique.
put my African dress on.
Let your Africanness shine.
Yes.
Come here.
You're the important one. You're the one in America. Can you take one with you? Oh, you have my phone.
Président de la République, Fayulu m'a dit, l'homme élu, cardinal Amboro.
No, this is my phone. That's why I had it.
Cardinal Amboro, tu peux le voir, on va dire, 60%, sur TV5, oui, Amboro, Amboro, ennemi, Bosson, ça fait l'église catholique. Bosson, ça peut avoir le souci, Bosson, avoir. Merci, président.
Est-ce que tu peux bouger, on lui prend la photo?
Président Yohana, Premier ministre. Donc, nous sommes là, Harvard University.
Take me one picture, please. Nous sommes partis ici à Boston. Vous prenez le téléphone, vous pouvez témoigner.
An airdrop.
Président Yohana, Congo, alors, président Yohana, président Yohana, namo premier, balianga noye moko Yohana président.
Rachid?
Ok. Photo, na président. Merci à tout le président. Msala munene ozo sala pona mboka na biso mo premier courage vraiment. Bokende liboso, Congo kende liboso.
This is your phone.
Harvard University.
Say Harvard.
Harvard, yes.
Lots of good ones.
Président de la République démocratique du Congo. Il a tenu plus de 60% de voix. Cardinal, nous sommes les instituts Bino.
I actually want to.
Merci vraiment.
Ok. Merci.
Merci.
Do you know whose phone it
Promise you.
D'abord, partager déjà les dossiers déjà. Harvard University. Président élu. Yes. Merci. On a la parrainage. Il y a comme ça. La PC. Merci. Merci.
Pardon.
De la soirée.
Okay. So I think there will come any second. I think sir, they're going to call you any minute now.
Comment je vais avoir votre numéro? On va poser.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. I'm grateful to the African Students Club and the Harvard Kennedy School for hosting this wonderful and very important gathering. I'm honored to deliver these remarks before this audience at such a pivotal time for our continent. In 2012, the world leaders agreed in Rio, Brazil, that poverty should be eradicated by 2030. To that end, Africa needs good education, clean water, food, sanitation, healthcare, jobs, electricity, infrastructure, and so many other things. For many of our nations, the majority of people live on below $1.25 a day, and a large portion of our population below the age of 17 lives with very little to no prospects for the future. This is the single largest challenge for African leaders. After almost 60 years of independence for many African countries, although I remain optimistic about the prospects of the continent, I'm alarmed by the chronic instability experienced in certain areas like my own country, the Democratic Republic of Congo. As we all know, Africa is extremely endowed in the natural resources and is a key global provider in many resources such as oil, cobalt, coltan, cocoa, copper, for instance. Today, those resources are not benefiting the continent significantly because they are being exploited with no added value. We need to start thinking beyond the simple extraction of resources as a means for development, because it simply isn't one. That means we must secure strategic global partnership which will help us modernize and diversify our economies and secure our future and the future of our children. This is the challenge for the global partnership we seek to forge. New global partnership for Africa's development. I've always told my kids that before to look at new things, it is important to consider what one already has and determine if one has made the best use of it. And then use this information to build on the new approach. What does this mean in the context of Africa? African countries have different levels of development, as well as different socio-economic and geopolitical realities. As a result, some countries are better equipped than others to engage in global partnership and make them work for the people. The growth and the socio-economic development in the West and the Eastern African region have commanded many rightful advancements. The positive perception has allowed many of those countries to attract better quality and more diversified foreign direct investment. Ethiopia, Nigeria, Ghana, and Kenya, among others, have been favorite destination for many investors in the commodities, banking, telecom, and fast-moving consumer goods spaces, for instance. Although those countries share different experiences, one of the key common denominators for sustained improvement is the consolidation of the rule of law and a clear visibility on the development of the nation. When investors understand the rule and can project themselves in the medium to long term, we, the people, are better equipped to negotiate win-win agreements. This requires both strategic vision, good governance, and a strong commitment for institution building as the bedrock of development. Legitimacy as a key underpinning of such vision and commitment is critical to generate shared, tangible, and long-lasting results. Many countries have seen tremendous results following this framework. Attracting partners on a shared vision is very important. This needs to be an inclusive development process rather than imbalanced from inception. But in order to do so, there are prerequisites. We see many debates around the world on the benefit of super integration. Although integration and globalization have generally created tremendous wealth, it has left too many fragile populations at the margins. Our challenge in Africa is to create the necessary integration we need to matter on global frameworks, but with a development which is shared among the many and not the few. Take the example of Ghana, for instance, which has decided to make French a national language, given that all three of its neighbors and therefore national trading partners are Francophone countries. If a country is better integrated with its immediate neighbors and the sub-region, both in economy and trade terms, but also in its social development and culture, it stands a better chance to attract investors interested in the synergies offered by the bloc rather than itself as a standalone country. However, for all their goodwill, countries must also adopt a dual approach in forging partnership. On the one hand, countries must make an effort to be reliable partners, and on the other hand, be strong actors on the regional scene. The largest untapped opportunity for Africa is intra-Africa trading. While it is very important to develop strong bilateral ties on a global basis, the lack of diversification of those partnerships is a threat to the natural competitive tension required to make any economy perform. We should not have to choose between China and the United States or between Latin America and Europe, but rather have approaches that are mutually beneficial to all parties and with the aim to lift people out of poverty. stimulate economy activity, and provide the training and education needed to develop our nations. This is the challenge that global partnerships need to deliver on. And the African leaders have a responsibility to execute on this. But like in many companies and well-run organizations, both the macro management, vision, leadership, regional ambitions, and the micro management, institution building, health and education, democratic culture, and the good governance are necessary to make the whole work cohesively. Following that same logic, a failing state in an ambitious region will not be able to drag the group to more than the sum of all parts. This is still clearly the case of my country, the Democratic Republic of Congo. Democratic is just by the name. Shortcuts in the democratic process and institution building cannot be erased by so-called efforts under undemocratic rules and illegitimate leadership. Democracy is important in that it creates accountability. More than anything else, African leaders need to be held accountable for their governance, just as a chief executive officers track KPIs and set up performance reviews from which they can ultimately suffer consequences. Head of state need to answer to the people on their policies and their achievements. That's when legitimacy becomes important, because more often than not, good policies are unpopular, and one needs the legitimacy to obtain through the democratic process to navigate through tough but needed structural reforms. When you cannot do this because you have killed the democracy, the democratic culture, and erased the very notion of legitimacy, then you are left with chaos. For decades, my country, Congo, has embodied what not to do, recurring lack of legitimacy, plundering of natural resources, and lack of strategic vision, the textbook for all failed states. Because illegitimate leaders do not feel the burden of accountability, they are most interested in taking as much they can, as quickly as possible, by the spectrum of illegitimacy. A partner that does not have the popular underpinning necessary to drive through complex regional and international partnership. The DRC should lead in those aspects and not to be led by its shortcomings. Integration works when everyone benefits from it. One cannot realistically achieve long-lasting economic stability when its neighbors are being left behind. Eventually, it will become a burden. The world is changing very fast, and I remain confident that regional integration and global partnerships between blocs remain a key ingredient to a successful Africa that delivers for its people. But it is important to always remember that integration can only be as successful as the fundamentals that underpin it. Nation and institution building eventually benefit the whole and create the necessary condition for sustained and inclusive development. The lack of it is a constant threat to both the nation, the region, and those forged global partnerships. On December 30th, 2018, in the hope of a democratic political transfer of power that carried an immense desire for change, the Congolese people went to the polls to elect the new president and the new parliamentary and provincial representatives. In an effort to maintain the former president, Mr. Kabila's system, the Independent Electoral Commission, that short saying, independent also by the name, the Electoral Commission simply fabricated results, cynically ignoring the sovereignty of the Congolese people. As you know, those irregular results were not consistent with the truth of the ballot as witnessed by observers, including the Catholic Church, and as detailed by data leaked from the Electoral Commission's central server, which were published in credible international media. Convened in Addis Ababa in January 17th this year to examine the post-electoral crisis prevailing in Congo, African head of state made a step in the right direction by calling on Congolese authority to quote, abstain from proclaiming the definitive result of December 30th, 2018 elections, and to wait for the arrival of the high-level delegation comprised of the President of the African Union, the President of the African Union Commission, as well as other heads of state and government, to engage in a dialogue with all Congolese stakeholders in an effort to reach a consensus on way out of the post-electoral crisis in the country, end quote. The rebuttal of the initiative by the Congolese government did cast a discredit without precedent on the African Union effort to help the Congolese people. The acceptance by many leaders of the status quo in light of this electoral fraud was disturbing. And today, more than ever, the Congolese people is wondering, what is the purpose of electoral process in Congo if their voice is not heard and not considered when so clearly and democratically demonstrated? The evidence is overwhelming, and no one can contest the true result in good faith. The legality that a court and an electoral commission controlled by former President Mr. Kabila just conferred to usurpers is not synonymous with legitimacy. To that extent, The explanatory memorandum of our constitution is explicit and unfortunately still be relevant. Quote, since its independence on June 30th, 1916, the Democratic Republic of Congo is confronted with recurring political crisis, which has fundamental roots in the contestation of the legitimacy of its institutions and its actors. This is why I proposed to the African Union to uphold its stated commitment to justice and truth by creating a special committee for the verification of the truth of the ballot. Unfortunately, my proposal was not considered, and the AU accepted to move forward with recognizing a sham election. Accepting this travesty in the name of hypothetical stability is to despise the will of the Congolese people and condemn the DRC to instability. Today, we are facing many questions. On the one hand, you have, first, an illegitimate Mr. Tshisekedi who is seeking help to fix his legitimacy issues. Second, you have Mr. Kabila, who is still pulling the strings and would like to corrupt me for silence. Third, some people, including the international community, asking me to just let it go. Let me ask you a question. If it was you, what would you have done? Sorry? No. And on another hand, you have the Congolese people, my people, who believe in the democratic process and voted for me with more than 62%. What do I do? This is the question. Keep fighting. Oh, this is my answer. I will not let my people down. Indeed, this is not about me or Kabila or Tshisekedi. This is about the Congolese. This is about respect for sovereignty as the exclusive power of the people. And we need to demonstrate to our people who courageously carried us through the African continent and the world that when we said that we are committed to democracy and nation building, we mean it. Not just for the vote, but as the only way forward to build our nation. The relevance of what happened in my country is a good example of the failure of integration, both at the regional level and the continental level. The SADC, the regional organization, which we are a part of, should have indicated itself to push for a stronger Congo, not a weaker one. Democratic principles are core to creating the necessary condition for strong win-win partnerships. The elites who you belong have a singular responsibility to promote and defend values that make nations stronger. Democracy, good governance, rule of law, legitimacy, and win-win principles should lead with as they are mutually beneficial to all. As political leaders of Africa, we should never forget that the prerequisite to successful global partnership is to uphold the sovereignty of the people as the sole emanation of power, and to govern by it and for it solely. Therefore, it is important to approach this new era of globalization with a strong commitment to building strong nations and a strong continent, and to resist the temptation of rushing through or skipping fundamentals. Change a city to change a nation. Change a nation to change a region. Change a region to change a continent. This is challenge facing all of us. I would like to thank the Harvard Kennedy School of Government, as well as the African students, for putting together this wonderful conference. You are our best, brightest ambassador, and we surely hope that you will be back home and put your intelligence and ideas to the service of the continent. I encourage you to remain optimistic about the promise of Africa and engage as much as you can with the continent as you pursue your study. I will do my part. I will continue to fight for the continent. I will continue to fight for my country. I will continue to fight for the better of the world. Thank you very much. God bless you.
Bonjour, on a pris discours à président élu Martin Fayulu Madi, donc ils ont un président élu, et on a fait vendre donc.
That was a very outstanding and impactful speech on the intersection of partnership, integration, and most importantly, democracy. We are now going to open it to questions from the audience. Please line up by the mics. Please keep your questions as questions and also concise, and be respectful. Thank you. Okay, so we'll start over here.
Thank you. Thank you very much for addressing us today. I'm Zimbabwean, and we have had a lot of elections stolen from us. I completely feel the pain of the Congolese people. Now to my questions. A number of African leaders, both in the ruling and opposition parties, struggle with passing the baton to the younger people. And I'm wondering, what strategies do you have in place for your generation to pass on the baton and probably train younger Congolese people whilst you're still in that position as leaders, so that you can effectively pass on power? And earlier today I was talking to my Kenyan friends, and one of the things that we all agreed was lacking in our respective countries was an effective opposition. How do you remain effective in between elections? Because most times we see our leaders, opposition leaders during elections, and sometimes we see them when there's a crisis. But in between, we do not hear from them. So how do you remain effective? And also, how do you get your
Yeah, we need the young people to start thinking about their country, to also join the political party, to start discussing issues of the countries of the continent. And if you can remember, during our independences in Africa, our leaders, they team up. They had close relationship. You can see Senegal to Congo to Ghana and to South Africa. If you see when South Africa fought for apartheid, it was the whole continent who fought. It was not South Africa only. That's why today we Congolese are telling South Africans and South African leaders they don't have to forget what the whole continent did for South Africa. And we are telling the youth, please, don't let the others alone. Don't let them do what they are doing. Let them do, just looking for money. They have to see your future, and you have to be behind them, and close to them, and put them in the right way. Now, for me to remain effective, I'm a fighter, I'm a fighter. The Congolese people call me people soldier. Now they are calling me people commandant. Okay? I will continue because I'm not working for myself. My life is almost in the past. I've worked for a big organization. I've worked for a big organization, and now I think there is time for me to fight for my country, to put myself as a model for youth, so we can together achieve wonders for our country. I continue to keep myself, as a man of values, a man who has some basis and who's not corrupt. And I always tell my people and go to the TV program, if there is one guy in this world who has corrupted me, who has given me one, like Nigerians say, one kobo, let him stand up. I work in Nigeria 2 years, yes. I work in Mali 2 years. I work in Ethiopia 2 years. I work in Kenya. I work, in many countries in Africa. I work in my own country 10 years. And I think that one has to have some values. And the companies that I work with before, this is ExxonMobil, is a company known with, values, and I have to keep on those values to remain the same. Yeah, my sister from Uganda, yes, we sometimes we're having problem with women in politics, but I always stress women because when women decide to do something, they are really committed to. And it's very important to work with women. I'm the president of a political party, and my second in command is, a woman. She's a lawyer, and she's performing very well. And we always try to have, this 50-50 as is put in our constitution, because in the Congolese constitution, it's stated that everywhere you should have these 50-50 women and men, but sometimes we are having problem to have those women coming in politics, but we continue to push them, to call them, because as you know, again, women have suffered a lot in Congo, or what they rape, and they are the one are suffering because no job for men, and they are the one working, to sustain the whole family. Thank you.
That's all we have time for. So thank you so much. I think okay. Yeah, I think that's all we have time for today. But thank you so much for being here with us. We really appreciate you taking the time from your busy schedule to be here with all of us. And if I can get everybody else to give him a round of applause.
Thank you. God bless you.
Commandant du peuple assis ici, donc discours ici, tout comme le casque moyen, tout bima, à un rendez-vous et belé, donc un dingazan, un beau tigara, la ligne, toujours boulaka, un beau cannabis président.
Okay. Very good. Thank you.
Nice to meet you. Thank you for because he's living in Uganda with himself for 33 years, in the population of Eastern Congo. It's sad.
Hi everyone.
We have to end this.
My name
We
is
need
Olade
your voice.
Tiemu. I'm the president of the Harvard African Law Association. And I just wanted to briefly tell everyone the Taste of Africa is starting at 8 p.m. And I also wanted to make sure everyone was aware of our co-sponsors who have really supported at the African Development Conference, to give them major thank you for supporting us in the North, specifically Alco, Vole, and the African Exim Bank. Without their support, so thank you so much for your support. Also, this is our 10th year.
I love your sense of humor. I'm from Ghana. And we need to look, so what are you doing with your home business? Is she going to be some contribution for all that happened to his father? Yeah, I saw him in an interview some time ago.
Yeah, I'm close to him.
You're close to him?
Yeah,
Wonderful.
I'm
I think he needs to
close
be given some recognition.
Exactly.
We
have to.
Thank you for your message. I love your sense of humor. The Nigerian combo.
Oh, okay, we're gonna turn this way too.
Thank you. Thank you. Mais où sont mes gars là? Ah, voilà la photo là. Il y a plus. Thank you.
C'est juste une félicitation par moi.
Merci.
C'est maman.
Merci.
En tout cas, c'était merveilleux.
C'est bon?
Tu as bien parlé. Très bien.
Merci.
Merci beaucoup, Monsieur Martin. Nous-mêmes, on a les mêmes problèmes que le Congo.
Exactement.
On met en prison nos politiciens qui essayent de ramener la jeunesse et travailler pour qu'on ait un Cameroun plus prospère.
Merci.
Et nous suivons.
Travaillons, on travaille, on va arriver.
Merci beaucoup.
On va arriver. Ok, merci. Merci beaucoup. Combat. Enchanté. Ok. Merci beaucoup. Okay. Yeah, you want photo? How are you? Thank you.
Alors, président de la République, Martin Fayulu, nous sommes là, et là. Celui-là qui a été connu.
Absolutely, ma'am. I would love to. Say I'm ready because they never
Okay.
came this morning. I arrived at New York this morning.
Yeah, the picture
and
and
then
the
I
video.
drove 4 hours to come here today.
Okay, thank you.
I am very happy
Thank
for
you.
what you're doing, but make sure.
No, this is mine, sorry.
Make sure you don't relent.
Can I get your
Yeah, I think I still have.
I need to take a picture with you.
Yeah, please. This is my car.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. Give me your card, please.
Let me, that's one. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Yes.
You're welcome.
All the best of luck.
And a picture.
Oh, thank you.
Ah bon?
J'étais professeur ici pour 8 ans.
Mathématicien?
Oui.
De quel pays?
Du Congo.
Votre nom du Congo?
Et Soleil.
C'est pas vous que j'ai suivi la fois passée à la...
À RFI?
Oui.
Oui, c'est moi.
J'ai conduisé.
Ah,
et quand j'ai entendu, j'ai arrêté pour vous suivre.
Ah, d'accord.
Félicitations.
Oui, nous, on encourage tout le monde à toujours parler d'égalité homme-femme et aussi de l'éducation pour tous les enfants congolais.
Tout à fait.
Ouais, il aussi,
Malaika. Ok, je vous donne ma carte.
Merci.
Voilà, merci pour
J'espère qu'on va se rencontrer tout à l'heure.
Merci beaucoup. On s'est vu tout à l'heure. Voilà.
Merci d'être venu.
Salima, c'est une de nos sœurs étudiantes ici.
Je mélange le français et l'anglais. J'ai dit vous mettez tout à l'heure. Ok, we met each other. Ok. Ça la moitié. Non, de la Géorgie. Le Congo? Oui, elle m'a dit tout à l'heure. Je vous donne quand même ma carte. Vous allez prendre les numéros ici. Togolais, mais je connais le Togo. J'ai beaucoup d'amis togolais. Ah, you speak good. Togolese, you don't speak...
only speak my native language. Only my native language.
Ah, that's good. Yeah, I was in...
Maman, un mot dans le discours à président.
Parce qu'on est en anglais, au cours de ce français bien type, parce que la bataille va bien anglais, tu vas bien français. Au cours de ce moment
Sengo mingi na kwa president na bisazolo ba.
Discours à l'Église, il y a Taliban. Expliquez maman, pour sa conclusion que le discours à président, il va Taliban bien anglais, c'est bien français.
Bataliba bakoti mai. Bataliba bakoti mai.
Merci vraiment, merci. Toujours les couleurs derrière.
musapina muzinduti oyo eza anglais oyo kiyango ne abeti anglais wana babeti wana ezali awa na nde foundation oyo ya kati ya mboka oyo ya balobi intelligence science oyo ya amerike ya monde ezali awa ntango martin alobi ata ozalaka na mwa nyungunyungu oyo eza final oyo alingi mpe aya kobeta tolingi Bercy ya retour baya wana kati ya state bapesa yango conference awa esika Clinton ayaki awa esika Obama ayaki awa Kennedy school yango oyo aza makasi ya kobeta tolingi match retour baya kobeta Martin po alobaka mbala moko alobi apanzi pe akomaka yango anglais alobi yango alingi pe ayame parce que ezali nango libre avoir les alliés baya bameka mais sinon alongoli biso soni oyoki maboko ne babeti na sa biso nyonso oyo baconfiance toye na cadre intellectuel toye na cadre ya bato boye toza bawololi toye kosala participation na conférence sur invitation ya bacadre université babengi na mboka oyo toye awa oyoki
merci Bayaya non un mot parce que tout le monde connaît déjà discours en anglais expliquez en français.
Okay, I think en français. Donc voilà, le discours était relatif à la situation du Congo actuel, c'est-à-dire c'est du vol de résultats des élections. Et puis il a fait une projection aussi sur l'avenir. L'avenir, comment est-ce que le Congo peut être prospère si tout va bien. Par ailleurs, il en a profité pour s'adresser à quelques étrangers qui sont présents ici pour leur dire que voilà, autrefois lorsque il y avait des problèmes dans certains pays comme l'Afrique du Sud, toute l'Afrique a combattu pour que ce pays-là trouve son indépendance. Mais aujourd'hui, le Congo est en guerre, le Congo est sous occupation, mais les autres frères du continent ne s'associent pas aux Congolais pour combattre les combats de tout le monde. Voilà un peu en gros le message du président. Ça, c'est pas un problème, on en parle.
Merci, il y a un peu de chapeau dans la merci vraiment de comment que la suite là. Maman, donc mon numéro premier par exemple, donc c'est un photo avec notre premier chef du gouvernement. Merci, président. C'est Patrick, ça, le proposé. Je peux demander.
Il y a au 4, hein?
Merci. Donc, Toza Awa, on a président élu à Harvard University. On a Dr. Constant, à vous avoir une photo parce que on a Harvard pour côté à Fouza à la macaron, ce qui était aux autres presse, le gars Dr. Constant, mais bien pour moi français pour moi mingité, mais expliquez votre président discours en anglais. Yo parce que moi mi tiens qui n'est kana et là qui signale l'obini en anglais français.
Discours à Makassi. Il a parlé sur le développement de l'Afrique et il a parlé des entraves qui freinent le développement de l'Afrique. Et parmi ces entraves-là, il a mis un accent particulier à la démocratie. Et en mettant l'accent particulier à la démocratie, il a souligné le problème de la RDC. Et que la RDC est en train d'expérimenter présentement un problème très sérieux qui freine le développement de notre pays. Et ce problème-là, c'est le vol électoral que Kabila s'est complété avec le camp catch. Alors ils ont volé les élections en utilisant leur cour suprême et tout. Et ça, nous venons tous, comme nous les remarquons tous, ça ferait le développement de notre pays. Et après, il y a eu questions et réponses, une séance de questions et réponses. Le jeune, une dame de l'Ouganda a posé la question sur l'intégration des jeunes et de la femme. Il a touché les politiques africains, disant que les hommes politiques dans l'ensemble, les hommes politiques se font voir après les élections ou après qu'il y ait vol électoral. Là, avant les élections et après. Mais pendant qu'ils sont au pouvoir, ils ne sont pas en contact avec la population. Qu'est-ce qui se passe et quel est son point de vue là-dessus? Et le président a parlé qu'il a été toujours accessible et qu'il est pour l'intégration des femmes. Il en a parlé même de son parti, qui est voilà, décidé à son premier vice-président, qui est une dame. Et l'autre dame aussi, il a parlé de la présence des femmes dans l'échiquier politique congolais. On ne retrouve pas assez de femmes. Alors là, le président a parlé, il faut qu'il y ait des femmes, parce que quand il y a des femmes, quand les femmes s'engagent pour une chose, ils vont jusqu'au bout. Donc il faut vraiment, il a soutenu qu'il veut la présence des femmes dans l'échiquier de la politique congolaise, quoi. Il a vraiment souligné cela. Vraiment, c'était un très beau discours suivi de questions vraiment bien ciblées. Et vous avez vu l'audience, tout le monde est choyé. Il y a la séance de photos, les viands ne veulent pas. Et pourtant, les programmes doivent finir, donc on ne sait même pas se libérer des enfants. Voilà quoi, nous sommes dans cette ambiance-là.
Merci, merci Dr. Constant.
Bon, dans position. Baga position. Ah, tout le monde on parle pas toi. On va parler baga position. Baga position, on peut faire un passage.
Donc, mon premier, on appelle ça sa photo. Il faut toujours cadre de la Congo. Alors, le cadre de la Congo, la photo, ils ont mis la sécurité de l'image.
Merci à tous vos premiers. Merci vraiment, merci.
Voilà.
Kabila peut dire ce qu'il veut, mais je crois que ce que je prouve sur le terrain, c'est une marionnette.